If I woke up tomorrow with $10,000, no job, no house, and a deep, almost spiritual hatred for email notifications, I know exactly what I'd do. I wouldn't start a side hustle. I wouldn't invest in myself. I wouldn't open a spreadsheet and pretend this time it's different. I'd disappear, not in a dramatic fake my death kind of way, more like a quiet vanishing. No forwarding address, no landlord, no neighbors asking if I've thought about repainting the fence. Just me, a piece of dirt, and the slow realization that I have no idea how to build anything that doesn't immediately collapse. Because modern life has this strange habit of convincing you that you're free while charging you monthly for the illusion. Rent, subscriptions, mandatory optimism. Somewhere along the way, success turned into sitting under fluorescent lights, pretending Slack messages are urgent, and calling burnout a productivity issue. So this video isn't about buying land. It's about opting out, about finding places in the United States where $10,000 still buys you silence, space, and the legal right to be left alone. No resorts, no glamping, no inspirational quotes painted on reclaimed wood. Just places where you can exist quietly, and no one asks what you do for a living. But let's set the rules before anyone starts typing angry comments. Rule number 1, $10,000 does not buy a house. If someone told you it does, they are either lying or selling you a shed with dreams. What it can buy is raw land, empty land, land with no power, no water, and absolutely no plan. Rule number 2, off-grid means off-grid. You bring the water, you make the electricity. You figure out why your solar system stopped working at 2 a.m. during a snowstorm. If that sounds romantic, great. If it sounds terrifying, also great. That's the point. Rule number 3, this is not about comfort. It's about distance, from people, from systems, from the constant background noise of modern life telling you that you're behind. And before we go any further, do me a quick favor. Like this video and subscribe, not because it'll change your life, but because it tells the algorithm I haven't completely lost my mind yet. And because I'm going to keep making these until I either fully disappear or finally learn how to build a roof that doesn't leak directly onto my bed. Now that the rules are clear, let's talk about the places where disappearing is still surprisingly affordable. Arkansas is the kind of place people forget exists until they accidentally drive through it and think, this feels illegal to be this quiet. And that's exactly why it works. Especially up near the edges of the Ozarks, where the roads stop being confident and the forests start swallowing sound. Land here is cheap because it's not trying to impress anyone. No views marketed as breathtaking, no wineries, just trees, hills, rocks, and the occasional clearing that looks like it hasn't been disturbed since someone abandoned a moonshine operation in the 70s. $10,000 won't get you comfort, but it will get you land. Enough land to not see another human unless you actively go looking for one. Off-grid life here is doable in a very unglamorous way. Water exists, but you earn it. Power is optional. Bugs are not. Summer is humid enough to make you question every life choice that led you here, but winter doesn't try to kill you outright, which feels generous. The people are polite in a distant way. They'll wave. They won't ask questions. They definitely won't help unless you ask, and even then, they'll mostly just watch to see if you're competent. Would I disappear here? Yes. Arkansas feels like the first step. Still human. Still adjusting. Still pretending this is temporary. Tennessee is dangerous because it feels almost normal. The hills are gentle. The roads are paved just enough to give you false hope. You can still find rural pockets where zoning laws get tired and stop caring what you do with your land. $10,000 here buys you something small and slightly inconvenient. A narrow parcel. A weird shape. A piece of land that makes you say, well, I guess I'll build around that. But it's real. It's legal. And no one is knocking on your door asking for permits as long as you don't do anything loud or ambitious. Off-grid in Tennessee is less about survival and more about discipline. You could stay connected. You could drive to town, which makes it harder. Comfort is nearby, like a bad habit waiting to be picked back up. The climate is forgiving. You won't freeze solid. You won't desiccate. You'll grow things accidentally. You'll also get very familiar with humidity and the concept of shade as infrastructure. People here are friendly, but busy with their own lives. As long as you don't complain about the lack of amenities, they'll leave you alone. This is disappearing with a safety net, which is both a pro and a trap. Eastern Kentucky feels like it folded in on itself and decided to stay there. The land rolls instead of stretches. Roads twist. GPS gives up early. And suddenly, you're somewhere that feels untouched. Not because it's protected, but because no one bothered. Land stays cheap here because it's inconvenient. Steep slopes, narrow access, lots of trees, and very few flat opinions. $10,000 can buy you a piece of hillside that looks unbuildable until you lower your standards and remember you weren't planning to host dinner parties anyway. Off-grid life here is old school. Wood heat. Spring water if you're lucky. Rain barrels if you're not. Electricity is optional, but firewood is not. Winter reminds you that this place does not care about your mood. The people are private, not unfriendly, just uninterested. They've seen outsiders come and go, usually leaving after the first real winter. If you stay quiet and handle your own problems, you'll be accepted by default. Would I vanish here? Absolutely. Kentucky doesn't feel like escape. It feels like retreat, the kind where no one follows, because no one wants to walk uphill for that long. If Arkansas still feels like a test run, then West Virginia is where things start getting serious. This is the point where roads narrow, cell signal disappears, and the concept of delivery becomes a funny story you tell yourself. Deep in the Appalachian hills, land is cheap not because it's bad, but because it demands effort. Steep terrain, thick forest, and access roads that look more like suggestions than infrastructure. $10,000 here can still buy you land. Not manicured, not flat, and definitely not convenient, but it's yours. And once you're there, no one is checking in on you. Off-grid isn't a lifestyle choice here. It's just how things work. You heat with wood. You plan ahead. You learn quickly that winter doesn't care if you were meaning to get around to that. The people are private in a way that feels earned. They're not rude. They just don't need you. If you handle your own problems and don't make noise about it, you'll be treated like background scenery, which is exactly what disappearing is supposed to feel like. West Virginia doesn't offer escape. It offers removal. From systems, from expectations, from being perceived. And once you're gone, no one's really looking for you. Missouri comes next, and it's quieter than people expect. Not the postcard Ozarks, not tourist cabins and kayaks. I'm talking about the interior parts people drive past without stopping. Flat in places, rolling in others, full of trees, old farm roads, and properties that haven't changed hands since someone gave up. Land stays affordable here because nothing is advertised. $10,000 can buy you a chunk of ground that isn't trying to sell a dream. No views, no branding, just dirt, brush, and enough distance between you and the nearest town to feel invisible. Off-grid life in Missouri is subtle. You're not fighting the environment so much as negotiating with it. Summers are heavy, winters are tolerable, our water exists, power is optional, bugs are relentless. You learn fast that low cost of living doesn't mean low effort. People here are polite, distant, and uninterested in your origin story. As long as you don't complain or try to reinvent the place, you'll be left alone. Missouri feels like the kind of disappearance that doesn't raise alarms. You don't vanish. You just quietly stop being relevant. And then there's Maine. Maine is where the fantasy ends and the reality shows up with frostbite. Once you get far enough north, land becomes cheap because survival becomes conditional. $10,000 can still buy you acreage, but what you're really buying is responsibility. For heat, for access, for not freezing because you underestimated January. Off-grid here is uncompromising. Wood heat isn't optional. Solar works until it doesn't. Winter lasts long enough to test your optimism and your insulation at the same time. But the trade-off is silence. Real silence. The kind that makes you aware of your own thoughts, whether you like them or not. People in Maine are efficient with words and generous with space. They don't romanticize this life. They respect it. And if you survive a few winters without complaining, you earn quiet acceptance. Maine doesn't let you pretend. You either disappear successfully or you leave. And if you stay, you'll never confuse comfort with freedom again. After Maine, the landscape changes completely. Trees thin out, the sky gets bigger, and suddenly, disappearing isn't about hiding anymore. It's about exposure. Colorado's San Luis Valley is one of those places that looks empty because it is. High desert, massive skies, mountains sitting in the distance like they're watching you make bad decisions. Land here is cheap because it's extreme. Elevation over 7,000 feet. Thin air. Cold nights that show up uninvited even in summer. $10,000 can still buy you a parcel, but it won't forgive you if you show up unprepared. There's no softness here, just space. Off-grid life in the valley is a constant negotiation with altitude. Solar works beautifully. Water is the real prize. Wind never asks permission. Winters are long, quiet, and very honest about whether your shelter was a good idea. But the isolation is complete. You can look in any direction and see nothing that belongs to anyone else. The people who choose this place aren't escaping. They're opting out deliberately. No small talk, no curiosity. Just mutual respect for anyone stubborn enough to live here. Colorado doesn't hide you. It erases your noise. Arizona comes next, and it's a different kind of emptiness. Northern desert, where the land looks unfinished and the sun feels personal. This is where disappearing becomes logistical. You don't blend in. You spread out. $10,000 in this part of Arizona can buy you acres. Real acres. Flat, dry, silent land where the nearest neighbor is a dot on the horizon you'll never visit. There are almost no rules here because enforcing them would require effort, and no one has that kind of energy. Off-grid living here revolves around water hauling and solar panels. Shade becomes architecture. The sun is relentless but predictable. You adapt or you leave. Bugs are minimal. People are optional. Silence is guaranteed. Those who live here understand boundaries. They wave from a distance. They don't ask questions. Everyone is doing their own version of disappearing, and no one wants to compare notes. Arizona doesn't cradle you. It simply allows you to exist without interference. Then there's New Mexico. And this is where the idea of disappearance stops being poetic and starts being literal. In places like Luna or Catron County, land is cheap because nothing interrupts it. No development pressure, no infrastructure, no urgency. $10,000 can buy you a piece of desert so empty it feels unfinished, like the world forgot to come back and add details. Off-grid here is raw. No water lines, no power, no backup plans. Rain is rare. Town is far. You learn to plan weeks ahead or not at all. But in return, you get something rare. Anonymity without effort. No one checks on you because no one is nearby. The people who remain are minimalists by necessity. Ranchers, hermits, folks who decided silence was worth the trade. New Mexico doesn't care if you succeed. It just doesn't interfere. If you stay long enough, you stop feeling like you left something behind. It's just you, the land, and time moving at its own speed. By the time you reach Nevada, Disappearing stops being a metaphor. This is where it becomes a physical condition. Vast stretches of land where nothing interrupts the horizon and the word neighbor loses all meaning. Northern Nevada, around places most people have never heard of and never plan to visit, is empty in a way that feels deliberate. Land is cheap here because there is nothing to soften the experience. No trees, no water waiting politely underground, no scenery trying to charm you. $10,000 can still buy you acreage, sometimes more than you're emotionally prepared to own. Space stops feeling empowering and starts feeling heavy. Off-grid life in Nevada is minimalist by force. Solar works because the sun never takes a day off. Water is hauled, rationed, respected. Wind reminds you constantly that you built this life yourself, but the isolation is absolute. You can live here for years without becoming part of anything. No one checks, no one cares. The people who remain are intentional, quiet, efficient. They didn't end up here by accident. Nevada doesn't hide you. It removes you from the equation entirely. Utah comes next, and it's deceptive. Southern Utah feels structured at first. Roads exist, towns have names, but once you drift into places like Iron County's forgotten edges, the system loosens its grip. Land gets cheaper, oversight fades, silence returns. $10,000 here can still buy you a small parcel of high desert that looks unfinished, like it's waiting to see what kind of person you are before reacting. Off-grid life is straightforward. Solar thrives. Rain is rare. Winters remind you you're not special. People here live far apart and keep it that way. Not out of hostility, but preference. Everyone respects distance because distance is the currency. Utah feels like the last place where disappearing is still quiet, controlled, and almost reasonable. And then there's Texas. Terlingua and the Big Bend region don't feel like the United States. They feel like the concept of land stripped down to its bones. No illusions, no softness, just heat, rock, sky, and a kind of silence that presses back. $10,000 can buy you real land here. Not symbolic land, actual ground where you can stand and realize no one is coming. No codes worth mentioning, no expectations, just space and consequence. Off-grid life here is brutal and honest. Water defines your schedule. Shade defines your survival. Summer tests your judgment. Winter tests your preparation. But the isolation is complete. There is no background noise of society, no distant reminder of what you're missing. People here are rare and intentional. Everyone you meet chose this. No one ended up here accidentally. Terlingua isn't escape, it's commitment. And that's the truth underneath all of this. Disappearing isn't about running away. It's about removing the noise and seeing what's left. $10,000 doesn't buy freedom. It buys the chance to find out whether you actually want it. Most people won't. And that's fine. But if you're still watching, still listening, still imagining yourself out there somewhere with no notifications and no audience, you already understand. I'll see you in the next one. Or I won't. That's kind of the point. At some point, it becomes clear that disappearing isn't about land, or money, or even distance. It's about subtraction, taking things away until there's nothing left to distract you from yourself. $10,000 doesn't buy safety. It doesn't buy comfort. It doesn't buy a backup plan. What it buys is a pause, a chance to step far enough outside the system to hear your own thoughts again, without them being drowned out by schedules, expectations, and constant low-grade urgency. Living off-grid doesn't make you free. It makes you honest. Honest about what you can handle. Honest about what you actually need. Honest about how much of modern life was convenience, and how much of it was noise you never agreed to carry. Out there, there's no applause, no metrics. No one cares if you're productive. The land doesn't reward effort. It only responds to preparation. If you planned well, you're warm. If you didn't, you're cold. If you paid attention, you eat. If you didn't, you learn. And that's why most people never do this. Not because it's impossible, but because it removes the excuses. There's no one else to blame, no system to argue with, no algorithm to appease, just cause and effect, repeated daily. Disappearing isn't running away from life. It's choosing a smaller one on purpose. One where every decision matters because there's nothing buffering you from the outcome. $10,000 is enough to find out if that kind of life scares you or calms you. And if you're still here at the end of this video, chances are it did something to you. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But one day, when the noise gets loud enough, you'll remember that there are still places where you can step out of it, and no one will stop you.